perfection. Human perfection. Human perfection.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's fabulous episode of QTV. I'm Michael James.
I'm Sharon Mulheron.
And I'm Matthew Bowe.
QTV is Queensland's only LGBTIQ television show, and we're happy to be bringing it to you.
Joining us on the couch tonight for our third episode, we have the LNP member for Brisbane Central, Robert Cavalucci, and he's here to answer your questions which you've submitted to us.
We'll also be talking about the Queer Film Festival and its opening night, which we all attended.
But first, the news. This week, the lower house of the Tasmanian Parliament supported the advancement of legislation which would remove the ban on same-sex adoption and escalated it to the upper houses. Currently, the stranger adoption, where a couple adopts a child who is not related to him or her, is restricted to opposite-sex couples. This bill will allow adoption authorities to choose from the widest pool of prospective parents, Tasmanian gay and lesbian rights group spokesman Rodney Croom said. The bill in particular allows foster children already in the care of same-sex couples to be adopted by their foster parents when it is in their best interests.
Wow. Well, not all seem to agree. Anti-LGBTIQ flyers were recently distributed in Launceston, Tasmania, condemning homosexuality as unhealthy, claiming that lesbians were 307 times more likely to die in accidents than white women aged 25 to 44. This has prompted the Tasmanian LGBTIQ rights advocates to lodge a complaint to the state's Anti-Discrimination Commission. And the Tasmanian gay and lesbian rights group, spokesman Rodney Croom again, has commented that the fact that there's still this kind of hate in parts of the community shows that that's why it's important that we remove all discrimination from our laws, especially when we're dealing with something as important as marriage. And children too, I guess.
Absolutely. That's such a fantastic piece of news. It's just coupled with such hate and vitriol that comes with these sorts of things. I mean, fantastic. That is just the right sort of legislation I wanted to hear coming forward there.
And we've got such an opportunity to send such a clear message with it as well. It's good.
I'm in that percentage of people, 25 to 44 white Australian women, and, what a statistic. That's all I'm going to say.
Anyway, in other news, a petition started by the Australian Christian Lobby, the ACL, could affect the rules for all outdoor advertising in Queensland. In a letter tabled in Parliament on April 3, Attorney General Jared Blige stated the community's concerns about outdoor advertising, particularly the rip and roll posters from the Queensland Association for Healthy Communities, have led him to question the appropriateness of the current model of control, requesting all outdoor advertising to become G-rated. Sources involved in the outdoor advertising industry have said that nothing has been formally raised by the Queensland government.
Well, we all know where I stand on that one.
Look, honestly, I think that the ACL have a point there with some of the G-rated stuff that needs to be out there. But the advert that you were in, I didn't have a problem with that. It promoted safe sex, and I don't have a problem with gay people being in advertising. That's not un-G-rated. That is G-rated.
Absolutely. It's going to be very tricky to really define what G-rated is going to be there. But in more happier news, at a Detroit concert last month, rock band Garbage paused their show to invite two fans up on stage to let a man named Scott propose to his boyfriend of 4 years, Dominic. The band's frontwoman Shirley Manson was contacted by Scott via Facebook and gave them backstage passes. After Scott proposed, the crowd went wild, followed by Dominic shouting, "Yes, yes." Garbage then played their song Vow, dedicating it to them. Manson is well known for her support of the LGBTIQ community and has previously spoken out against the reluctance of US politicians to allow same-sex marriages.
That's great. Isn't that just fantastic?
I love it.
It's brilliant.
And politicians actually seem to be listening to rock stars because that's who's speaking to the people. So
they have lots of people turn up to their concerts.
Absolutely.
Queensland Health will be conducting surveys this weekend to study and review the sexual behaviour of the LGBTI community. The survey is part of the future HIV/AIDS campaign by the Ministerial Advisory Committee, also known as the MAC, aimed to promote education and reduce stigma. However, Executive Director of Queensland Association for Healthy Communities, Paul Martin, questioned the transparency, independent nature and expertise of the survey back in January, commenting that there was already numerous surveys out in the community, including annual gay community periodic survey that was independently and competently gathering data using methods that are internationally renowned and respected.
I am not even going to comment on that minefield. Very interesting.
Earlier this week, Puberty Blue star Brenna Harding accepted her award for Most Popular New Female Talent at the Logies with joy and thanked her two mothers on stage. If you missed the Logies, the 16-year-old actress was in tears, saying, "I especially have to thank two women, my beautiful mothers, Vicky and Jackie, who have been so incredibly supportive and so wonderful, not just in the last 3 months of shooting, but in all of my 16 years. Thanks so much, mums."
That is just beautiful. It really touches my heart, and I just hope that, you know, everybody realises that gay parents can bring up children that are quite successful.
And they kids that can do anything they want.
That's exactly right.
A beautiful moment on television. Now, last month, Brisbane City Council approved the Brisbane GLBTIQ Action Group's request for a community support LGBT page. The webpage has now gone live with information on different services that support Brisbane residents, such as the Open Doors Youth Service. However, the page remains unlisted on the drop-down menu and hidden even when searching LGBT on its website. A letter of thanks, including suggested improvements, has been sent to the Brisbane City Council by the Brisbane LGBTIQ Action Group.
That's true. And anybody who wants to join BLAG are welcome to do so as well.
Great to have the council's support. A week ago, in a Huffington Post interview, Academy Award winner Jeremy Irons told the interviewer that he believed same-sex marriage poses interesting questions, including whether allowing it would also allow a father and son to get married. Irons said, "It's not incest between men, because incest is there to protect us from inbreeding, but men don't breed." He then continued on, asking whether same-sex marriage would allow fathers to pass on their estates to their sons without being taxed. After the public outrage, he clarified his comments on the website, saying, "I am clearly aware that many gay relationships are more long-term, responsible, and even healthier in their role of raising children than their hetero equivalents, and that love often creates the desire to mark itself in a formal way, as marriage would do. Clearly, society should find a way of doing this. I had hoped that even on such a subject as this, where passions run high, the internet was a forum where ideas could be freely discussed without descending into name-calling."
I'm not even talking about that. Move on.
And that's the news for this week. If you have any news stories that you'd like us to cover, make sure that you contact us on any of our social media streams, Facebook and Twitter. Also, you can email the producer, Steve Whiteley, at steve.whiteley@31.com.au. Now, we'll be back after this very short break with more for QTV.